Does Steph Curry belong in the top 10 all time?
Yes.
Mr. B, you say yes. Why do you believe Steph Curry is a top 10 NBA player?
Changed the game. I mean, shooting, 4 rings, unanimous MVPs. I just respect the work ethic too. Like the work ethic from where he came, how he came in to where he is now. Come on, man. What are we talking about? What the fuck are we talking about here? It can't be top 10. Like,
Rashad, I hear you breathing a little heavier than normal.
No, it's because it's Gil. I'm gonna let Gil cook because I'm on Gil's side.
When it comes to generational,
yeah, I want to go back to that.
So the first part about the generational, look, okay, I'm gonna ask you a question because you're the one who started with the facial expression.
Gil, yes, I did. You
when did Steph Curry become generational for you?
Probably after unanimous MVP.
Okay, exactly. When was LeBron called generational?
High school.
Okay. When did Shaq become generational? Okay.
Yeah.
When was Tiger Woods considered a generational?
Probably about 3 or 4 years old.
Okay. When did Serena Williams was considered?
11 years old.
Teenage.
Okay.
Yeah.
When Mike Tyson was named.
20 years old.
No.
Youngest than that.
When did they say he is gonna be the youngest heavyweight champ?
It's 19.
15.
Yeah, 15. Yeah.
Shout out
Right?
to Tomato.
Wendy.
16.
When did they say 16, right? So you're saying, and everyone's saying Steph is a generational after he accomplished something. When the rest of the generational players was called it before anything. It's a physical thing. The physically gifted people, the number 1 picks, the people that they identify as generational was considered that way before they dominated anything. They didn't break no records yet, right? Steph broke a record. His shooting is, generational when he passed Reggie Miller, when he passed this. So he had to beat something to be considered generational over guys who weren't generational, right? Generational is you as a person. You're a generational talent, meaning this, those guys can't change nothing because we can't be them, right? No one looked up and said, I want to be the next Shaq. I physically know I can't be him. I physically can't be LeBron James. I physically can't be Wemby. This guy, Steph Curry, 6'3", little, I can be him. His shooting, I can do that. Obviously, I can't put in that work ethic because he did, I don't know it, but I can pretend to be him. Game changer. Very different conversation. The physical part, right, like a genius, right? To be considered a genius in the world standard, you have to have a 140 IQ level. 140 and up is considered a genius by the world standard. Now, if you have a IQ of 100 and you become a billionaire, the richest man on earth, you invented all these new things, you cannot yell you're a genius. Your accomplishments does not make you the genius. The standard test makes you the genius. So yes, there's geniuses that's working at McDonald's probably. There's geniuses that's your PE coach. There's a genius that's sitting under the bridge. Yeah, they didn't translate it to nothing, but they're clinically the genius. Just like Bo Jackson, right? He was a generational talent. I guarantee you he was selected number 1 or 2. O.J. Simpson, I guarantee he was selected number 1 or 2, right? Those guys are generational talents, meaning you cannot mimic it. The physical is the physical trait of it, right? You're born, it's your genetics, right? The Michael Phelps, right? We're naturally born with 4 to 6 liters of lung capacity, right? He has 10. That's what he was born with. He just happened to jump in the pool and realize he can fucking be a mermaid. Now he uses that ability and training, and that's what he is. The dude who can run for days because his lactic acid does not build up like the regular normal people. That is the generational runner. He has an ability that you can't teach or what's it. That's what it is. I'm not saying he's not generational. The world has identified it as people who have this certain gift before achievements.
But if they have that physical gift, there have been people as big as Shaq that don't have the talent or skill that Shaq has. So can you say they're generational if they don't maximize on that talent?
No, see,
they're not mimicking it. You can't mimic what Shaq done. Like Dwight Howard would probably be the closest guy.
But he was considered a generational talent.
Yes.
But you're taking what I'm saying is, what makes Steph generational?
Greatest shooter.
Got it. Greatest shooter means
besides Salim Stoudemire, in my opinion.
Hold on, that's greatest shooter, right?
Shout out Salim.
Greatest shooter, which means he had to beat somebody in front of him, right? Now, what skill did Magic Johnson have that clinically have him as the greatest or generational? What does Shaq do to make it like they're not like you're pointing it to a shooting, a thing.
Yeah, well,
everybody else is not
passing, right? Or not?
Everybody else is not a thing.
Because he's not the assist leader.
He's not the assist leader.
But
It's a thing. What I'm saying, it's a thing. It's a thing, right? You're using
Who's
a
the
thing.
assist leader?
John Stockton.
All right. So is John Stockton a generational talent?
No.
Okay.
So that's
In the hearts of some.
No, that's
In
the
hearts of
thing.
some.
Everybody else, it's them that's generational. When people argue about Steph, you're saying his shooting is generational. I'm talking about people. People are the person himself.
Yeah.
Here's my
Right, that's what it is.
But I would say that
when you say shooting and this and that, that's not that's not what I'm
people
talking
have
about.
taken it as a slight to Steph. I don't feel like you're disrespecting Steph.
It's this.
No, it's not a disrespect.
No. What I'm saying is,
I'm gonna help it out.
For Steph, it would be more of something that I trained my ass off for this ability. Now the other people were gifted. God gave them that.
Yeah.
Right? Their genetics gave them. You earned your ability. Your shooting ability was earned. Shaquille O'Neal, jumping ability and dunking power, he didn't earn that. He was gifted that.
You can't mimic Wemby.
No.
That's a created player. Mm-hmm. All right, how can we mimic Steph Curry? You know how? Trae Young.
Yeah, but Trey can't shoot like Steph.
Trae can't.
No.
shoot like Steph.
Okay. No.
Let me go deeper. Dame Lillard. Put them next to each other. Right? You're only going to say Steph is a better shooter is because he made more.
Well, yeah.
But generationally, we've seen these guys shoot at this type of clip.
Now, my question is, if let's say Trae Young, right? If Trae Young beats Steph Curry's record, is Trae Young
A generational talent?
Is Steph not a generational anymore? Does it enhance to what I'm saying is if Trae Young wins 4 championships and MVPs and breaks his scoring record, does this guy we're not calling generational now, does he become generational?
He has to be.
See, that's not generational then.
Because Steph can be mimicked. He can be mimicked based on his accomplishments and awards that he's gotten. If this guy, Trae Young, who shoots similarly, goes and gets these same awards, you have to give him the same criteria.
And then that's the problem. Generational has nothing to do with achievements. When we said Bo Jackson, when we said Mike Tyson, when we said Tiger Woods, I don't know what Phil Nickerson record he broke at 2, but they already coined it.
Yep.
The little 12-year-old that's fucking monkey dunking on everybody, he's considered a generational talent.
Michael Jackson,
he has
5 years old, ABC, 1, 2, 3, you and me.
But that's what I'm saying.
Webster.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a physical. So we're not talking about work ethic. We're not talking about game changers. We're not talking about the things that you can get better in. He and Kobe, these are workaholics who perfected a skill and changed the landscape of basketball or music or whatever. That's a different conversation.
Yes, it is.
So
One is a physical conversation. Like if we say, all right, y'all, We're not gonna touch a basketball. We're not gonna touch a football or what's the name? I got Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, LeBron James, Wemby, Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, right? Jerry Rice. All right, we're gonna do combat something. We're gonna compete. Pick. With not knowing what we're gonna do, who's gonna be last?
Jerry Rice.
And who else?
Who was the one
Curry,
before him?
catching
Curry,
footballs.
yeah, Curry would be, yeah. Because you're talking about Wemby, you like Wemby.
The competition is catching footballs.
But what I'm saying, we don't know what the competition is.
We gotta pick somebody
so
up.
we're gonna have the pick. So now you're going off of what only? Physical attributes.
that can be accomplished throughout the whole
Yeah, so
landscape.
now, I don't know what sport it is. It could be boxing, be wrestling. Let me start going. The last two picks are gonna be the people who look normal. That's why people wanna be them. Because they're normal looking. The guys that are generational, we can't identify with. That's what makes them different.
And it's in their sport too, because you're looking at Serena in tennis. It's like knowing that we never seen anything like this in tennis.
Right.
But Tiger Woods in golf, like we've never seen anything like this.
You can't
as a
mimic it?
kid.
No.
Never seen anything like that.
So let's spin it back to the question. Generational aside.
No, okay, so
Steph
for
game changer. Does Steph belong in the top 10?
For the question so in my top 10, so I have to put a cap on my top 10. My top 10 starts from 80 on.
Okay.
Right, 80 on, right? Because I don't know your resume
What you
from
seen,
there.
what you seen.
I can't really identify with it. So yes, Steph makes my top 10.
Steph is in your top 10. Steph is in your top 10, Brandon. Rashad, how about yourself? In your top 10, Steph Curry cracking that top 10.
That's good enough. We're serious, because the fact that it takes thought, because now you got to run down everybody's resume.
Because
You're
thinking point guards. You're thinking, it's
And it's hard just to relegate him to a point guard despite the size, and obviously he handles a lot of that role, but
this criteria of talent. Is it talent based? To me, it's always talent based and skill based. So I look at Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady. I look at Isaiah Thomas. I look at Shaq. I look at Hakeem Olajuwon. And I'm looking at the totality of the skill set. And even Kyrie, like comparing Kyrie and Steph. Who's better? Who's more talented? But who has the more accomplishments? Who has the more awards? So I don't really like doing all that, because then it eliminates one based on team success and all of that kind of stuff. So no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. But he probably is 11, because the top 10 is so tight with so much talent. And then you got Allen. Like, he's not better than Allen Iverson to me. I can't put him in and take him out. So there's so many guys. But being outside of the top 10 doesn't regulate that. Like, doesn't negate your talent.
No.
Like, Steph Curry is one of the greatest of all time by far, and he considers himself the best point guard ever. So that alone, you got to consider him inside of that. But to me, I don't see a lot of point guards in my top 10.
But then that's the reason Brunson is what started this, right? Where I had to really go back into history, and it made me appreciate Isaiah Thomas now. And the reason is this. Physical and generation, someone thinks that's a different thing. Physical is you're gifted. 44-inch vertical, 46-inch vertical. You have 2% body fat. That's your genetics. That's what makes you gifted, right? Your skill is a very different thing. So when you're talking about someone in a point guard position, what they lack that everyone else is going to have is the genetics that God gave them, right? The Wilts, the Shaqs, the Jordans, the the Magics, the LeBrons, right? Those guys supposed to win.
Because they're bigger.
History has said there's been, in the last 50 years, 2 normal point guards that have won championship amongst these freaks. Isaiah Thomas as the lead dog, right? As the lead, not the secondary player, as the lead player, the man on the team, Isaiah Thomas and Curry is the only two players that's won championships in the last 50 years being the main player on the team. That right there alone, one has 4, 3 as the main player. When him and KD was together, we can argue on who was number 1, number 2, right? It's there. But a guaranteed by 3.5 championships, 3.5 championships that he as the number 1 guy, and Isaiah as the number 1 guy, he has 2. That alone itself, to who they were, we're not talking about like John Morant body. Right, we're talking about motherfucker 21-inch vertical. Shit, Isaiah Thomas, same thing. These guys are not the peak athlete, and they win amongst these giants and won as the number 1 guy. That alone has to be in my top 10. Right? A freak of nature, you were supposed to fucking win. Fuck off. Right, you were supposed to win. 44-inch vertical with your 3% body fat, 6'11", 7'1", whatever the fuck was going through your bloodstream, you didn't. And then someone, and please, moving forward, y'all. Even if I open it up to the masses, I know one person who can't be in there due to research.
Who's that one person?
Russell.